mean, what's the big difference you see between that traditional, I'll use air quotes, right, advisor practice or strategy as opposed to what you should be doing if you want to build true wealth?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that I've seen, I guess, a difference between what we do and what I've experienced with traditional advisors is they want to know, how much money do you have and how much money can we put away, right? And that they're looking at just such a small piece of the picture. And I know me personally, I always walked away from those meetings or those situations and thought, I don't even know what I'm putting my money into or what it's going to look like. There was never a conversation about taxes or tax implications of any strategy. And it was just like, I don't know. I didn't feel any more empowered after the fact, except maybe I'm doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's a lot of the frustration. And I know people that have had similar conversations. My personal experience before I got in this industry was kind of the same thing. It's like, okay, well, what do you already have? They want to see how much you have to work with to see if you're worth their time. That was the impression that I got. But it's so much more than that, folks. I mean, so we're going to talk about 6 different areas, and we've got, 15, 20 minutes to do this. So we're going to hang on to your seats. But there's 6 areas you should really be looking at in building wealth. And I'm not talking about just retirement. I'm talking about wealth, because if you're, in your early 30s or maybe even late 20s, you're not thinking about 65, 66, 67, or whatever that age may be. You're thinking about, how do I build wealth for my families? And part of that is that retirement conversation. So, and looking at the first thing you want to do is, number one, is you've got to have a spending plan, right? Not necessarily a budget, a spending plan, because that's you being intentional with your money. You're working your butt off, creating an income for you and your families. And middle class, we know how to do that. We know how to go out and hustle, bringing in, stacking the Benjamins, bringing in the money, whatever you want to call it, making that paper rain. But the point is, that's great if you make it and have the ability to do that. But if you don't know what you're doing with it, and you're just throwing money at the problem, that's what the government does. That does not work, right? And most of you that are doing that approach are probably realizing it's not really working, or at least it's not working as well as it could or it should be working for you. That was my challenge, making money, but I'm stacking it, but I don't seem to be doing it right, because I wasn't being intentional with every single dollar that came in the door.
Yeah.
That's what a spending plan is all about, right? And so looking at that, kind of, having kids, you tell your kids what to do, you need to tell your money what to do, right? And a spending plan is not like a traditional budget where you keep track of what you've spent. That's water under the bridge, right? That's looking backwards, right? Well, it's already been spent. I keep track of, we'll try to do better this month. That's not you being intentional, which I think, and when you get this, it's a big difference, right? Between a spending plan and a traditional budget.
Yeah. Yeah, being intentional, telling your money what to do. And in that, we tell people, which this gets into the other part that we'll talk about, but paying yourself first, making that a part of your spending plan is how you're saving for your future self as well. And a lot of times people just wait till the end to see if there's anything left over to do that, instead of making it intentional from the start.
Yeah. And I love that you brought that up, that paying yourself first, folks. What she means is, you look at what's going on in your life financially. The most important person, the person who should get paid first, is you, your future self, right? You want to stack cash out, and you should be saving approximately 20% of your income. That 10%, if you're in your late 20s, mid 20s, and you're starting out, 10% works. Okay. But as you make more money, as you get older, you should be putting more money away, upwards of 20, 25% of your income. Okay, it's called math. All right, that's what you need, not 10% when you're in your 40s or whatever. Yeah, you're going to be making more of an income, but is it a bigger jump? And so that's going to really help you stack true wealth. So number one is a spending plan. Number two, we all have rainy days. We all have situations in life that happens, right? You need an emergency fund. Right. Don't plan on running to your credit card every time to fix an emergency. Car breaks down, the AC goes out, or whatever the case may be. You need to have that emergency fund set aside for the rainy day. The things that happen that are going to happen, and kind of have your own insurance, if you will, against those life issues that happen. And the number is, ideally you want to start with $1,000. That's going to cover probably 50, 60% of your things that come up. Brakes go out, you need to fly, to a family emergency or something like that. That way you're not running to your credit card and racking that up. Because I don't know about you, Wendy, I've tried to use that credit card in the past, and it always seemed that there was always another emergency that popped up before I got that first debt paid off. And then it just stacking and stacking. I don't know if you can relate to that or not.
Well, when you put those things on a credit card, then you get behind, and then the next month you're like, oh, I tried to pay off the credit card, so I'm behind, and it just winds up being a vicious cycle. So I get that.
Yeah, exactly. And so exactly. So that's where that spending plan. Now, ideally, you want to start off with $1,000. Then you want to have about 3 months of expenses stacked away. Okay. Some people say 3 to 6 months, and if that helps you sleep better at night, that's fine. But at least a 3-month cushion. That way, if you have a big situation like a job layoff or loss of income, or maybe you have a business or a network marketing business, something like that, and all of a sudden the income goes down, right? You've got time to react, and you can pivot rather than panic.